men using his money as, his only sense of personality. Like if you lead with like, "Oh yeah, I got this and I got that and I could pay for this for you and don't worry about it. I got this, I got you, blah blah blah." You're leading with your money. And I feel like to a lot of women, that's unattractive, and whoever is attracted to that,
For the wrong reasons.
it is, you're attracted to that person for the wrong reason, and you're going to end up with a woman that, has low standards herself. That's one. Because they only in it for the money because you've promised them this, that, and the third. So you being okay with, you getting into a relationship or you getting into any situation, like with money being the only thing you have to offer, that's low standard in itself. Being a provider is different because if you get into a situation and you like as a man, you're like, okay, well, I'm very interested in this person, so I want to, take care of, the bill when we go on dates, or I'll give her money for rent, like just because like I love her and you guys are like building a like a solid situation. That's different. But I feel like leading with money, like, and you making money your whole personality, that's whack.
So Alan told me this earlier, and he said if there's 100% of people and we're talking about the top 5% only understand the top 5%, right? And if you take that same principle and you apply it to this conversation, low standards will attract and understand low standards. High standards will attract and understand high standards. Because if you try to lead with your money as your number one asset of substance to a woman with high standards, you're going to be unsuccessful.
Absolutely.
And if a woman who is using her body to get the attention of a man who has higher standards, she will be unsuccessful. So I think that's important to understand when you're in this dating world about what you're putting out is actually what you're attracting, because that's the only thing that it can attract. Like when you fish, there's certain bait that catch certain fish. It's the same thing when it comes to life and dating. You want to catch, bluefish, you put on a worm. You want to catch a shark, you're going to have to put on a chunk of meat, right? So like the bigger the fish, the more you realistically have to put out there. And that's the best way I could explain it.
Do you think that people who both lead with either money or their body, the reason they have low standards is for them that they have nothing else to offer? Maybe he leads with money because there's nothing else to offer.
I think it
That's
may.
probably their best
I,
thing to offer.
that's their only thing.
It's not their best thing to
It's
offer.
their only
That's what
thing.
we're trying to say. It's really not the best thing to offer because you have to realize money is probably one of the hardest things that is to make in this world, right? I would say about 100% or 99% of people seek money. So if you were able to make yourself a multi-millionaire, you either have to have some kind of intellectual skill, some kind of social skill. You have to have something that matters, right? That skill got you to what you have, but you don't use that skill when you're in the dating market. The skill that you're using in the dating market is the outcome of what you have, right? So let's say Hundo over here, Hundo works out, right? Let's say he works out and this girl's like, yo, I want to rock with you. I want to hang out with you. And he's like, why? And she's like, oh, because you're fit. I want to rock with you. And he's like, I'm fit because I'm disciplined. If you want to rock with me, you have to be a disciplined person. So the outcome is not what you put in up front. It's what the actual groundwork is what you put in up front. It's like if you have discipline, I could rock with you. So if a guy got a whole lot of money and he's like, look, I'm very social. That's how I got rich. And I read a lot. That's how I got rich. I did these things. That's how I got rich. If you're able to do those things, I could rock with you. But a lot of times people will be like, a woman could be like, I got this body, no surgery, never went to this, never went to that. I work out every day. I eat healthy every day. I do this every day. I know I posted on Instagram, but this is who I am. The guy might be like, damn, you wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. You run for an hour every morning. You do this every day. He's gonna be more attracted to that. But in her mind, she's like, no, I gotta put the G string while I'm holding my nipples and saying this is it. So you're given the outcome of something somebody might not even want. So you have to lower your standards from who you really are. Because in reality, you're a high energy person. But the way your high energy is, you don't want to, you don't think people's going to accept your high standards and your high energy. So in order to fit in, you lower your standards as low as you can so people could connect with you.
But the thing
Well-
about that is people are only going to perceive you for what you put out there. So if you do have high standards somewhere in there, we're not gonna know. Like no one's gonna know. If all we see is the nipples and the half naked pictures on Instagram, that's a swipe left. I don't know how the thing goes. Swipe right, swipe left, whatever
Just
the fuck.
actually swipe up now. Just
Swipe up next. Like no one is going to, not no one, but the person who is going to be interested in that version of you is probably not going to be interested in all of the high standards that you do have.
yeah. And I also want to disagree with Alan. I believe that majority of the men with money or people with money are scam artists and con artists. That's how they got successful. I mean, if you really think about it, in the world where they are meant, in the world, not just America, where people are meant to be part of the 95%, in order to get to that 5%, you got to shake some things that you didn't really want to do. You know what I'm saying? And some people learn how to operate in the gray area very well. So the problem is those men don't create any substance. Very rare are people, well, I'm excluding the people born into money as well. But very rare do you see somebody who made it and kept it, right? Reading, doing the groundwork of building their own personal substance. A lot of times it was, you were an athlete, you gave an idea to somebody, you met somebody and put them two together, which don't really require a lot of actual substance and self-work.
But are you talking about like we're not talking about the people who are athletes and entertainers, but self-made millionaires in terms of constantly reading and growing and learning? You don't believe they do that?
No, I'm saying that there are people, I think if out of the 5% margin that actually have money, I would say 0.5% of that are those people. So when you look at it, if a dude is leading with his money, it's because he made his money the wrong way. He never made his money of substance or with his substance and with his value. He made his money doing something that he either shouldn't have been doing or he just got a layup. So he never acquired substance and did the groundwork on himself. That's why he can't come up and represent himself on these dates. He doesn't know who he is. He has never did and never was put in that position to do that work. So when he goes out and now he's getting the girl who's just basically willing to do whatever he says, or showcase her body just so she could be in the same room as somebody with money, you have, again, two people with no substance that are clicking up together having no outcomes or no longevity, I should say.
Alan is so extra. Be so much.
No, because you know what?
I'm glad my peripheral stopped working for like
No, because when you think about it, I think that in a sense, we're trained so much when it comes to relationships. Like, for example, here's a common one, right? A woman would be like, I got high standards. And you'll be like, well, why do you have high standards? She's like, well, because I make $210,000 a year. I work for IBM. I'm senior vice president. I go to every this, I do that. And then the dude is like, do you do any self-care?
No.
Do you read? Have you read any kind of good books lately? Do you work out? Do you
it's
do
all
this?
superficial things.
And then
Yep.
she's like,
I was about to
no.
say, did you watch this TikTok video? Because I saw a TikTok video this morning that was
Probably should've.
just like that.
Right? So the thing is like, what I agree with what Rico is saying is like, a man with high standards who's making $20,000 a year. It's like, you are not as important as you think you are to me. Right? It's like, yo, you don't do things that I'm interested in. I'm a trainer. I don't make that much money. You know what I'm saying? I'm still helping out my family. I'm trying to build my business. You're not somebody that I'm interested in. That's a person with what you would say conscious standard or high standard, right? Now let's reverse this. Now she's in the club. Bang, bang. And you got Ray Ray over here oh, you make 210 a month, and he's gonna tell her whatever she want to hear. He's a scumbag just like she is.
Exactly. That's why they're in the same spot.
He's as much of a scumbag as she
But
is.
don't you think the reason that she falls prey to the Ray Rays is because her standards are based on superficial things? They're not really
in a
based
sense
on
it is,
anything
because
concrete.
and I'm not trying to bring spirituality in this. She don't read the Bible. She don't read Plato. She don't read
Anything.
Origins of
You
Africa.
don't have to read
No, I'm just
Plato.
saying that she doesn't read Origins in Africa. She doesn't know nothing about who she is. She has no real
Now
substance.
somebody's in there like, I don't.
No. But what I'm saying is like I see where Rico's going with
That's
this
important.
because she doesn't really have substance meet with substance.
I
So
agree
if
right
you
there.
have a low standard, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
Because you gotta think. I remember when I was
Be a better person.
do the work. And that's what I've been preaching is like do the work. I like stop with the fast success, stop with the microwave, just do the work and it'll happen fast. When I was a junior in college, right before I actually got kicked out, ironic. I got asked a question and I was a biology major on pace to graduate, right? And they asked me, well, someone asked me, have you read any books? Like what was the book? And I couldn't even, first of all, I didn't even read the biology book that I was supposed to read. So I'm like, damn, I'm about to be a undergrad bio major, which is in the top, let's say 10% toughest majors to acquire. And I never even read a book. Right? So when
Ever?
I've never read a book. I've never completed a book. I might have read like, a chapter or two. Yeah, huh? Yeah, during that time. Right? So the thing is like just because you have accolades, just because you have something tangible, a degree, or you have a $200,000 salary, doesn't mean you have substance. It just means you were able to do what they told you to do, right? So like when you actually pick up a book and you actually read and you find what you like and you find what's going to help develop you and shape you and build you, that's when you start actually getting substance. That's when you can actually align with other people and have different types of conversations and realistically attract what you really want. Like, because nobody wants the low standard person.
There's a sadness. I'm gonna leave this at that. But I think there's a sadness to people with high expectations, overachievers. I'm talking about successful people who don't get what they want over time.
What do you mean?
Like I've seen people who feel so entitled. They feel like I got high standards. I got this, I got that, I got this. And they've gotten older and they're probably in their 40s. And let's just say they've been rocking out since they were in their 20s, 30s. They had high. And it just doesn't happen for them. I think there's a sadness to it because it's almost like you want to tell, just be normal.
Or bitter.
Or sometimes there are things that people just aren't willing to compromise on. And if you are consciously aware, you got to be aware that you may not get it and be okay with what that looks like. And I've read a few people who are like, I'm okay if I don't get it. Like my life will go on, but I'm not willing to compromise on certain things. And I'm not talking about superficial things, but there are things that they're just not. And some might say, oh, your standards are too high. And they're just like, no, it's not that my standards are too high in terms of quality of life. If I compromise on that, I will regret it for the rest of my life. So I'd rather not compromise on that.
Would you compromise on the void? I mean, would you regret the void that you've created?
No, they're like they'll be like, I'll be fine.
The craziest thing is that all I'm hearing is that there's something that they're willing to live without.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's not that they don't possess a desire for it. What's her name? Passport Cuddy.
That's what compromise is.
Yeah, but like the thing is like that's just pride. That's all it is
But I
is
think-
pride. That's all it is just pride. Like you just saying, I don't want a man. I'm just gonna make a.
Don't please make something super like.
I'm gonna say I don't want a man who is not a gentleman, right? I refuse to compromise to date a man that is not a gentleman. But then again, if there are 0 gentlemen out there, or the gentlemen that are out there are already married, you're saying you would rather be single for the rest of your life, but you want marriage. right? But you rather be single because you're not getting a specific type of man, which means that it's just a pride thing. Like
But
once you get there, everybody thinks they know. Everybody thinks they want something until they got to deal with the repercussion of it.
And most people when they
repercussion
get
of a
it,
gentleman?
No repercussion of like
Not getting what you want.
not getting like if you want marriage, right? We're just saying that in this example, somebody wants the marriage, right?
Right.
If you want marriage or you want a relationship with or without the contract, and you decide that you are going to opt out because of the requirements or opt out because of the quality that is available, and you're gonna live without it, that's the part that I'm talking about.
I feel like when we're talking about something like your gentleman example, that's a valid ask. Like that's a valid, like, all right, yeah, I'm not taking no for an answer with that. Because when you don't get someone that's a gentleman, when that's something that you deeply require, you're gonna get a guy who isn't a gentleman. You're not gonna like how they treat you. And how are you gonna live with being in a relationship when you don't like how you're being treated?
You don't like your person.
You know what the craziest thing is? Like this all goes back to what I asked you before. Who told you you wanted a gentleman? And matter of fact, who told you you need a gentleman? Right? So now
Um, should I want a bad boy?
no, but I've seen some
Should I
couples.
want someone that's gonna
He doesn't
treat
have-
me like
Amanda,
shit?
there's people in the middle.
I've seen some
Like-
couples who've been together for like 40, 50 years, and I've seen them on TV and in real life. All they do is talk shit to each other. He's not a gentleman. She's not a nice girl. Oh, shut your fuss. But they argue and they got this little bickering thing that they
But
got going on.
They sued, and maybe
they
she
love
was
each other. They connect
Yeah.
with each
That's a
other.
bad
They bond with each
example,
other.
Alan. See, that's a bad example because maybe they suit and that works. What I'm saying is there are people, and we all have things that each one of us in this room have something that we aren't willing to settle on, or you're not going to budge. Yes, you have things that you're like, I'll compromise on that. I'll move on that. But there are certain things, right? And
I have to
it's
argue.
not, it's not.
I got to
so
argue.
You're willing to settle on
Okay,
everything.
So I gotta say this, and let's go with this. Because this is 8 at the table, right? So let's go
It
for
is.
real on some for real life shit, right?
Hold on. Rico and Amanda want to take their shot.
All right. For the
I
shot,
saved
we're
it. I
Clank,
saved
clank,
this
clank.
for this shot.
Wow. What are we cheersing to, Amanda?
The good life.
Gemini season is over.
Thank God. Let's cheers to that. Cheers to the end of Gemini season. And happy belated.
Happy belated.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, Amanda.
Thank you. Yeah.
That makes me feel like I'm getting roofied again.
Ah,
So here's what I'm saying. All right, look. I used this example before a while back, right?
I'm sweating.
In this
Boy.
example, my dad told me this story a long time ago. He was like, "You are what you are, and you could lie to nobody else but yourself." He said there was a priest. He was a handsome priest. He ran a whole congregation. His wife left him because she said his penis was too small and her belly got hard.
Damn. Double
So
whammy.
he went around to the whole congregation saying it wasn't true. He's like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. He got another woman, beautiful girl. Guess what she did?
Said the same thing.
She left him. She says penis is too small and it barely gets hard. Meaning that this is very cut dry what I'm saying in a sense, right? What is really his options if he's dealing with a sexual being? If he has an asexual woman, that's different. He's dealing with a sexual being. If you're a woman who don't have manners yourself,
You can't
you have
require-
no manners, you have no etiquettes, you don't even know how to hold a proper napkin, and you want a gentleman.
That's wild.
That's a problem.
but that's not what we're.
No, that is what we're
Yeah.
saying. What we're trying to say is that
We didn't get into the variables.
no, but what I'm trying to say is that in a sense, when you try to look at it for really what it is, right? You really get what you qualify for. But the truth is you qualify for anything you want if you're willing to work for it.
And you're not.
Right? So, like Rico said, you gotta work for it. So a lot of times I'm gonna say, let's take it back to I don't want to go there, but I'm gonna go there. Let's take it back to the streets. They say you got $30. You need to do groceries. You ain't gonna go to Whole Foods.
You gonna go to
You gonna go to
ShopRite.
Aldi.
C-Town.
Are they cheap?
Aldi's pretty good.
Aldi is terrible.
I hate all these.
Absolutely.
the worst grocery
Aldi's
store
is
I've stepped
not
foot in.
terrible.
All these is
You gotta bring your
terrible.
own bags. They originated that.
Well, I don't know.
They
but
definitely
Because if we
did.
being for real,
Like 15
the
years
dollar
ago.
store got groceries.
There's
so
nothing
it depends
wrong
on
with
what you want.
Aldi's.
Whatever. Aldi didn't
Right.
cut us a
What you
check.
trying
They
to
don't need
get?
my
So
support.
what?
I'll tell you where to go because Dollar Tree, Dollar General got eggs. What you trying to get?
So what I'm trying to say is like
That ain't a dollar.
Is like sometimes
It ain't a dollar.
there's nothing wrong with lowering your standards to get what you want. I gotta agree with that.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying. What
My God, you might have.
what I am saying is, while there are things that you are willing to settle, lower your standards, right? I think everyone has those things that are unmovable, unbudgeable, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you sit there and you compromise everything, then you just have low standards.
Yeah,
but
However,
Marie-
But you gotta
There's-
ask, why are you compromising these things? Like if
Yeah.
if I was a guy and I was single and I was walking on Park Ave one day and fucking Betty comes outside, who's around my age, maybe a couple years, and she's a fucking billionaire and she wants to marry me. She's going crazy for me. And then I go to dinner with her all the time, and people be like, "Damn, he talks to her any kind of fucking way. He does anything he wants with her. She's lowering her standards." I'm like, I'm dealing with a broken bitch. Y'all think that she's
chill,
Not Betty.
chill. Like
That's a triple B. Betty the baddie
Like-
broke, or quadruple B. Betty the bad broke
you are,
Fucking-
Alan's been giving pimp vibes.
bish.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
Like, what the hell did Betty do?
But realistically, if we think about it in all actuality, here's my issue with people who are not willing to budge on their high standards and lower their standards is that it's not providing any results for you. Not not in comparison to what you really want. So if I really want a Lamborghini, right? And I said, but you know what? I don't care. I am never going to struggle like an entrepreneur. I'm going to work this job and make $75,000 a year. You're not going to get the Lamborghini. So you and then you say, all right, cool. I'm okay with never getting the Lamborghini, right? But then this is where things really get rocky when you start watching other people get this Lamborghini.
And you weren't okay with it.
But nobody is okay with what they're sacrificing, is what I'm saying. They only sacrificing it for their comfort. They want to be comfortable, stuck in their own ways. And then once they're actually seeing other people achieve the things that they know that they can achieve, is when it actually flips the switch and says, well, damn, I should have did the work and I should have worked on myself so I can also acquire what they were able to obtain.